Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to my channel. My name is Joanna. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much for being here. I hope you stay. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much. Without you, I wouldn't do what I do. And I thoroughly enjoy what I do, which is channeling higher consciousness. Why? Because it feels so darn good when I channel higher consciousness. It reminds me what home is and what home isn't. And when I'm in the process of channeling this higher frequency, it reminds me it reminds me where I come from, where you come from, and that there is no end and no beginning. It's all universal flow. So if you are here watching this, I can pretty much tell you that you are here to master the art of self-healing through acts of kindness and acceptance. If you are here watching this, you are likely someone who identifies him or herself as a healer, or at least you know that you have some innate ability to heal. Yes, you do. And the reason why you have this innate ability to heal is because at the very essence of who you are is nothing more and nothing less than unconditional pure love. This is who you are at the very essence of you. And that in itself is extraordinarily healing. So we could say that in order for us all to heal, we have to recognize our own inner essence. And the best way to recognize our own inner essence is to give unconditionally from our hearts. And we are in a space right now, evolutionarily speaking, where we have a lot of challenges, which are actually opportunities for all of us to heal, to bring more healing into this world. Why? Because when we experience adversity, we begin to remember what's really, truly important in life. And we naturally want to help and give. So with the fires right now in California, as horrific as it is essentially an opportunity for us to give hope and love so that we can all heal, not only those who are affected by this terrible, terrible situation, but also those who are helping those who are suffering. And that's because when we help those who are suffering, we instinctually click into our essence, which is unconditional and pure love. So it is in these moments of drastic challenges that we instinctually want to give our love, because we naturally as humans are not designed to watch people suffering and do nothing about it. Yet we do, and how often do we do it? Each one of us has done it in some small or big way. So these tragedies, as unfortunate as and as terrible as they are actually opportunities for humanity to be brought together, to be one big community, to be essentially one. And when we live in oneness, when we live in oneness, we live in our essence. And because our essence is pure love, it means that we are not bound to fear. We are designed to essentially be nothing more and nothing less than the essence of pure love. This is who we are. But we forget that when we begin to identify ourselves as ego. And our ego is based predominantly on a lot of fear and beginning and end. So if you're watching this, by the way, thank you. I just released the 2025 Zodiac Signs Forecasts. Many of you have been asking me for it, and I decided to do it almost last minute. So they're now ready, uploaded for you to get. They're the lowest price ever. I wanted everyone to be able to afford it. And these forecasts are really blueprints to the journey and to the opportunities to heal. So if you're into that sort of thing, which you are, you can get yourself a sign or 12 signs and just notice what was channeled to you in terms of the opportunities for you to heal in 2025 and beyond this year. So moving along. Today I decided to do things a little bit differently. I got an idea to present it in a message format, but it's not a pick a card. It's basically, there are 3 messages, 1, 2, 3, and at one point I will ask you to think of a number, and that particular number will be likely the best message for you. It doesn't mean that all the other messages are not for you. It just means that at this particular moment, this is a message that's most likely going to correspond to you at this particular time. But let me just say this. Like I said, we are ultimately here to master the art of self-healing. What does it really mean to heal? In the context of this conversation, to heal simply means to remember who we really are. Because when we begin to remember who we really are, we are less likely to live in fear. And who doesn't want that? Which means when we are not living in fear, which is predominantly in our head and in our stories, we live in the heart. Heart is where unconditional love is. Heart is where your essence resides. Let's use that analogy. So when we don't live in fear, we live in our essence. And our essence is pure. That may not be seen in some situations, but our essence, the very essence of who we are, what everything is the purest vibration of unconditional love. It's the type of love that cannot be explained. It can only be felt. And through the process of healing, we begin to tap into this unconditional love, which means when we begin to tap into this unconditional love that is at the very essence of who we are, we become extremely expanded individuals. Why? Because remembering essentially where we come from is our power. That's our power. When we don't remember where we come from and we begin to identify as an ego, we lose that power. It's not that we lose that power. We're just not fully embodying that power because we're embodying a human body and the ego. Okay? But the ego is very short-sighted. It's very rigid. It's very black and white. And at the very core of ego's essence is the fear of survival. So the more we identify ourselves as purely ego, the more we always live from the space of fear of survival. When there is fear, there is relatively less love. And there is a saying, which I'm sure every one of you have heard before, love heals. It actually does. Because essentially, love, the very essence of love, is very healing. So when we are living predominantly in the fear of survival, we are not living in the healing space, which means it's more difficult for us to heal. It's not that it's impossible, but it's more difficult because we're vibrating at a lower frequency. The more we move up into this higher frequency, that is more the unconditional love, the more being in that higher frequency, we naturally are in a position to heal much faster. And we are in a space of time where what I'm seeing is a division and separation. And we have an opportunity to bring those separate aspects back together, back to community, back to oneness. When we embody the awareness of oneness, we are less likely to hurt somebody. Why? Because we know that when we hurt somebody and we are part of that person, when we hurt them, we hurt ourselves. When we hurt somebody else, we hurt ourselves. Yet we often hurt ourselves without even knowing that we are hurting ourselves. Give me an example of how we hurt ourselves. When we are, for example, self-attacking ourselves, and that's just an example, when we are constantly judging ourselves harshly, we are essentially attacking ourselves. We are being adversaries to our own selves. And what adversaries do is they fight. When there is fight, there is relatively a lot less peace. So the message here is simply this. In order for all of us to begin to heal, we first have to decide to heal. And since healing is equivalent to unconditional love, by deciding to heal, we are essentially deciding to embody more unconditional love. And that can be a little bit difficult, especially when we are faced with whatever we are experiencing in the outer life that is very chaotic. It's very hard to embody unconditional love when you are seeing people hurting other people in whatever shape or form. But why do people hurt other people? Why would we want to cause pain? Retaliation, anger, hatred, whatever it is. But remember, because we are all one, we all come from oneness. When we hate somebody else, what we are actually doing is we are hating part of ourselves. Now, this is not a conscious decision. It's not a conscious choice. It's not even a conscious awareness. But according to my source, that's what it is. So first and foremost, in order to heal, we have to observe what needs healing within our own selves. What are we fighting against within ourselves? What are we opposing to in terms of who we are? What are we at conflict with in ourselves? And I'm going to read something to you that a being gave to me a few years ago, Egyptian deity Thoth. And he came through for me. He came through unexpectedly through my body while I was on a live show. And this being came through, and this is the message he gave me. This is only the beginning. Life isn't forever, but the message is. It is God we seek, not the devil we dwell in. You will understand what this all means in time. Wars are not to be won, but to be conquered and freed from. For now, the message is for you to understand that love and love alone is the only force that will save this world. Do not forget where you come from, for this is the only path you will follow into your existence of the forever after. Listen to your heart, for your mind can often escape you. But do not forget that you are also a human too. It is a form that you were given for a purpose to achieve aspects within yourself that sometimes feel unsurmountable to you. Yet remember, the bridge that you are about to cross is one that will forever shape your entire existence from this time forward. Do not be afraid, for fear is only in your imagination. It is not implied that fear and fear itself does not impose a negative aspect into your soul. But remember, love can overcome anything that is and stands in front of you at this particular time. This includes the wars that are about to unfold in front of your eyes. Be patient, for patience is the only way at this particular time to allow your body and mind to coexist in this time of chaos. Be proud, for you have chosen to come into this existence in order to accomplish acts of kindness based on love and love alone. It's a very, very powerful and very deep message that has so many layers. The thing that always struck me about this message is about the wars and the inner wars. And what we are essentially here to do as part of this incarnation is we are here to embody more oneness. We are here to embody more of our nature, who is our essence, the nature of our essence, which is unconditional love. Which means in order to embody unconditional love, we have to become the unconditional love that we are. And unconditional love holds no judgments. So one of the first things we have as our homework is to look at the way we judge others, and the way we judge ourselves. And that's because judgment can cause a lot of conflict, and judgments divide. As long as we are judging, we are always in opposition to whatever we are judging. And that includes you and I. So whenever you judge yourself harshly, you are at odds with yourself. Essentially, you are at war with yourself. You are creating separation within yourself. When you create separation within yourself, you are no longer at one or at union with yourself, which means if you are not at union with yourself, you are not at one with love. You're separate, or you believe you're separate. God, or whatever people call God, or whatever people believe God is essentially the essence of unconditional and pure love. That's what quote unquote God is. It's a vibrational consciousness of the highest order, if I can use that analogy. You and I and everything within this universe is all part of that. So in essence, we are unconditional love. That's who we are. But when we are practicing self-judgments, when we are practicing, self-judgments, we cannot possibly experience and embody this unconditional love. So we have to lose our judgments. Here's what's interesting. With all these fires that are happening again in California, so many people are suffering. And those who are helping are deciding to help and give unconditionally, disregarding all the judgments they would have had about the people who lost their livelihoods, for example. In other words, if the same people were not in this position of having their homes lost, if they were just regular people and they had their beautiful homes or whatever it is, likely we would judge. But what happens is when they're in suffering and we kick into this unconditional love and wanting to give, wanting those people to suffer less, we lose our judgments. Because what happens is we we instinctually want to give. Now, is there any anger? Of course, yes. But what I'm talking about is how when we experience adversity and we naturally want to help one another because that's what we're designed to do, we almost instinctually drop judgments. We just give because we know that giving is what is required. And we are when we practicing giving to another, that's very healing to ourselves. So although the giving to another, of giving hope, of giving food, whatever it is, of giving support, although it is to help them heal, ultimately it helps us heal. So the simple recipe or prescription to healing could be said that is unconditionally give out of your heart, out of your love space. And that seems to be easier to do when we are seeing people suffering, especially on a major scale. That's why at the very beginning, they talked about how this is an opportunity to help us tap into the essence of who we really are, which is unconditional love, and we are naturally designed to give. When everyone gives to another, it naturally comes back. When everyone gives, everyone receives. So when we give, we naturally receive. So it's an opportunity for all of us to heal and to practice by practicing more kindness. And that in theory is very easy, logical thing to do, but we don't often practice that in every day because we get lost in the shuffle of life. And we are at a very important and pivotal point of human evolution where we either begin to shift our minds and change how we are in this world, or we continue on the same path, and that path will likely lead to something we'd rather not experience. This is not a prediction. This is just shown to me what in terms of what space are we in right now, evolutionary wise. What space are we in right now? And we are scrambling right now to not quote unquote fall off the cliff. In other words, we are making a lot of effort right now to avoid, if I can use that word, potential pitfalls. So what this is saying to me is that as humanity, we are on some level recognizing that there are going to be some pitfalls we would rather not face. But in order not to face these pitfalls, we have to start with a better understanding of who we are and what we're capable of, so that we can change what we do and how we do things to avoid those potential pitfalls. So our essence is to give. Our nature is pure love. The less we live in fear, the more we live in the essence of pure love. Pure love is naturally healing. Not pure love is naturally, it's about expressing and giving. Pure love is not about holding back. Pure love is about fuller expression. Fear, on the other hand, is very limited. So the less we live in fear, the more we are living in our truest expression. And imagine if every single person in this world decided tomorrow to express more love from their hearts rather than judgments from their head. Our world will change very, very quickly and very drastically. And this is how quickly we can heal. We can heal very quickly if we decide to heal. How? Again, but by remembering what is our essence and by tuning more into our essence, which is unconditional love designed to give. The more we are in that essence, the more we naturally give And that is very healing. And if we were to give starting tomorrow from the space of love, heart, rather than holding back from the space of the head, logic, the very short-minded, short-sighted ego, we would heal very, very quickly on this planet. But each person would have to consciously decide to be more of their true essence, which means each person would have to decide to no longer linger in fear, anger, and things like that, and to consciously come from a space of love. Now remember, unconditional love is love without conditions, which means if each and every person decides to love, regardless of whatever the person looks like, whatever the person does for a living, whatever the person does or doesn't do, if we would choose to love, regardless of all those things, our world would be a completely different place. Now, my ego says, well, what about those people who are doing bad things? Well, first of all, use your discernment. Number two, nobody's saying that a person who is up to no good should be doing the no good because you love them. No, just the person is responsible for the choices and decisions, but you as a person can still love that person and have compassion for that person while they are in their limited, fear-based position. Okay? That's called unconditional love, which means no judgments. Not discernment, no judgments. If you had less judgments about yourself, how would you feel tomorrow? Let's say tomorrow you wake up and you hold 75% less judgments of yourself. You have a little bit left. What would you do? How would your life change? What would you allow yourself to do? Who would you allow yourself to be? What would you allow yourself to create that you currently don't give yourself permission to create because you have your judgments? So this is a big lesson for all of us. This year, the 2025, even according to my forecast, but just looking astrologically, this is a year of potentially a lot of pitfalls, but pitfalls that we can learn from. When we overcome a pitfall, we have something to learn from. And we have had many, 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 many pitfalls that we can learn from. As long as we derive wisdom from the pitfalls, we have grown and we are likely to do things differently and better. So with that said, I'd like you to think between the number of 1 and 3. And whatever number you're drawn to, that's going to be likely a message for you that's a little bit more specific. Okay? So message number 1, Venusian Galactic Council, star being guides, answer the call, time to shine. This is a message number 1. You are here, but you're not here alone. You have a lot of guidance, a lot of beings who are working with you in order to help you move through this transition, move through this lifetime. So you are likely someone who regards himself or herself as a medium, as a channeler, certainly someone who's connected to, I want to say the word higher forces. These higher forces, what is a higher force? A higher vibrating beings have a lot of information for you, and this information can be channeled through you as a vehicle in order to be shared with other people. Okay? What are the messages you would say? What is your message? No different than the message I'm sharing with you. At the end of the day, it's ultimately all about love. You are here to not only show love, but to teach how to love. And the only way you can teach how to love is to first know how to love. What does it mean to love? You decide. What does it mean to love? Whatever it means to love is you are here to learn that and to share that with compassion. Okay? Star being guides, answer the call, it's time to shine. I'm just looking at the vision here. I'm drawn to the head. There's a crown, so it's something like a crown to me, headdress. Thank you. You are in a very important position right now to make a difference in this world. For some of you, to make a big difference in this world. Some of you may think that's a funny thing for me to say, but you are here to make a difference. You are here to contribute in various ways. But you are here to contribute through speaking out, giving yourself a voice, helping others speak their voice, helping others speak the truth. That's also very much part of healing. When we begin to speak our truth, when we begin to speak our voice, we begin to operate under different conditions. We begin to operate from a space of, I want to say, more value. You are here, if this resonates with you, to help people not only recognize their value, but reach higher. And to reach higher, there has to be some level of recognition that one can reach higher. So you are likely someone who is here to very much use your voice to convey a certain message. And the message is something around the idea of, when you love and accept yourself fully and wholeheartedly, nothing can stop you from achieving ultimately of what you want. In other words, when you begin to heal, when you begin to vibrate at a higher state of consciousness, you begin to see your own quote unquote value. You begin to see your value. And each and every individual everything has its own intrinsic value. So you are likely someone who is here, and maybe in the past you have not been able to see your value, recognize your value, but you are someone who is here to recognize your own worth, your own value. And when you recognize your own worth, your own value, you are less likely to reach for outside circumstances and situations in order to help you feel fulfilled. So likely you've come into this lifetime, and through your experiences, there's a void, and I'm feeling it in my heart. There's a void. It's like you feel like there's something missing. Maybe you feel like you're missing a purpose. Maybe you feel like there's something missing. And what I'm being shown is that whatever it is that you think you are missing, you're not missing at all. In fact, what has happened is the part that you think you're missing, you have rejected or opposed, and it's very much a part of you. So you are here to recognize what aspect of yourself you have rejected in order to learn to accept these parts of you, so that you are no longer feeling this void, so that you are feeling completeness, you are feeling whole, and you are feeling whole. I want to say the word whole. So you are here to recognize your own wholeness and perhaps help others recognize their own wholeness. How is this applied during this time? When you give of yourself in whatever capacity, make sure you give for the right reasons. What do I mean by that? Sometimes we give for the wrong reasons because we want to manipulate. So let me just see if I can get an example. If you're giving to somebody, but the condition is that when you give, you have to get something back, then you're not really giving unconditionally. Then you are basically saying it's a transaction. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you're then not really giving of yourself. You are creating a transaction whereby whatever you give, you now have to receive. And giving unconditionally means without conditions. That does not mean that you should not receive. In fact, please do. But when we give in form of manipulation, that we're not really giving. So I am not saying that you're a manipulator of some sort, but there's some message here that wants to come through, whether it's to recognize other people's manipulation tactics in terms of them giving, but somehow them expecting something from you. There's some form of manipulation here. So this is going to be maybe for a few people. Give me a little bit more. Some of you are deciding no more. You're basically saying no more. I've had it. That's it. And whoever you're saying that no more to, wants you back. This looks like a relationship thing. And that person will do anything to bring you back. But the moment they bring you back, they revert to their old ways. So I feel like this is a very specific message for someone who will be either thinking of going back to a situation without reaching a resolution first, or being lured back into a situation you don't want to be in. I have no idea who this message is for, but this going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth is actually not very healing to you. If you are choosing to go back into a situation that didn't serve you in the first place, and you didn't deal with why you were there in the first place, and you go back to the situation again, I can almost promise you that nothing will change. Nothing will change. So someone may want to lure you back, pretending they've changed, but the moment they have you back, they're back to their old ways. So this is a message for somebody very specific who is thinking of going back to some older situation. So if this makes sense to you, please comment down below, because I have no idea what this is about, none. But it's almost like a bit of a warning. If you go back, but you have not changed anything, there was no resolution, if you go back to the same situation, you're likely to experience the same thing. So think carefully, what are your reasons for going back? Okay. If your reason for going back is, I don't want to be alone, then I would say that's not a good enough reason. Because if you go from the space of fear of not wanting to be alone, and therefore you'll accept something that otherwise you wouldn't accept, then you're just shortchanging yourself, then you're limiting your experience. Whereas if you deal with the fear of abandonment and not wanting to be alone, when you heal that, you are less likely to attract another partner or another situation that actually makes you feel like you're alone, but you are in a relationship. Okay, so this is a very specific relationship message to someone. So that's message number one. Again, no idea who it's for. Message number two. Halls of learning, spirit guides, confirmation, great lessons. The next card is Chamber of the Violet Flame, karmic release, radical transformation. Needless to say, your message is that you are in a space of a lot of learning. This to me is almost like it's gold. There's a lot of inner evolution that's happening with you right now, and there's a lot of light that you are embodying. What do I mean by that? When I say you are embodying a lot more light, it tells me that you are deciding to live less in fear. When you decide to live less out of fear, you naturally embody more of your light. Which means in order for you to live less from the fear space, you have to deal with your shadows. Okay? The shadow idea is, this is predominantly what I work with, is helping clients move through their shadows or transform their shadows. It's very important work and very transformational work, and incidentally, radical transformation. I would say, if you're listening to this pile number two, your job in this year is to gain a lot of wisdom, not just understanding, but wisdom, so that you can share this wisdom with others. And wisdom is an interesting thing, because wisdom is knowledge experienced. You can only have wisdom when you go through a certain experience. So you are looking at your own experiences and gaining tremendous wisdom from it. And that is very, very healing. they're saying the purpose of this message is to give you the opportunity to stop limiting yourself. We all limit ourselves as human beings. That's just the way it is. And we limit ourselves because of our judgments. So you are likely someone who is a very harsh, judging person, whether towards you or towards somebody else. If you hold a lot of judgments about yourself, you're likely to hold a lot of judgments about others. I know how it works because I come from a very judgmental space, and I have to work really diligently to not go there because it's been so ingrained in me. So that's a lot of work. But anyway, you are in a space of transformation. You're not here to heal the world. You are here to be part of this world healing. In other words, you have chosen as a soul to come into this 3D fabric in order to help the planet heal. You are here to help. That is the underlined word. So if you are putting a lot of pressure on yourself that you are here to heal the world, you can't. Single-handedly, you can't. But you can help as part of the whole. So your job to help planet Earth heal is to heal yourself, essentially. And to heal is to transform. This is really important for you to understand about yourself, if this resonates with you, because a lot of your essence all our essence is designed to heal, but it's like there's a part of you that really wants to give through healing. So you are likely someone who maybe resonates with the idea of being a healer. Again, we're all healers, but in a 3D reality, if you call yourself a healer, it means something. That's kind of sort of what I mean. A practitioner who practices healing with whatever abilities and skills he or she has. So you have them, we all have them. And the more we tap into our true nature, the more we tap into our quote unquote godliness, the more we become aware of our healing abilities and the tools and the different ways that we can help planet Earth heal. Okay. So yes, we all have a responsibility as being part of this planet to bring healing into this world, because this is why we are incarnated here. This is why we're here. We are here to heal, to master the art of self-healing. So that's message number 2. If you pick message number 3, you have Pleiadian activation, coming together, harmony in the heavens, resolution. So right away, I'm struck by this blue light. I see it as a blue orb. You likely have a connection to Pleiadians or some form of blue beings. Your favorite color might be blue. You're drawn to blue things. You might be very, very airy. And it's a very high, it's very high vibration. I feel you're also someone who likely has or had some challenges or issues with your throat or expressing. Remember, you are here to express love. The how you express your love, that's going to be different for different individual. But for you, it's likely that you are here to express love through some form of sharing with your voice, channeling, singing, speaking out, because your throat is amplified, and it's also blue. The throat is very much amplified. What are you communicating? You're communicating, your communication is regarding the aspect of transformation. You are here not only to help you transform, but you're here to help others transform out of their own fear-based living into more love essence, true essence living. So you are here to help others essentially overcome their conditioned beliefs that have people live in fear. And the only way you are able to do that is if in some way, shape, or form, you are either in that process yourself or you have overcome some of your major fears and major blockages. And the fear and blockage that you have likely identified with is number 1, fear, am I enough? am I enough, which has to do with value. And the second one is, will they accept me? So you likely have challenges around validation and the need to be accepted. So that tells me right away that you are here to learn about self-acceptance. You're here to learn about self-acceptance. Which means if you're here to learn through self-acceptance, your basis has to be that you don't accept yourself. So I already know that if you're a pile 3, you have some major issues around self-rejection. I already know that. Okay? It's just a matter of recognizing, how do you reject yourself? Why do you reject yourself? What's the purpose of you rejecting yourself? What do you get from it? And bring the aspects of you that you have rejected back into you so that you can experience more oneness. That's very healing. When you express from the space of oneness, your energy, you're giving off a very healing vibration. Healing vibration. So you are here. Okay, thank you. You are communicating with masters. I'm specifically hearing Mother Mary. So if you connect with Mother Mary, or that somehow makes sense to you, please note down below. That would be interesting for me to hear. Kuan Yin. Okay, so what I'm noticing is this is goddesses, or you can think of them as goddesses. They're feminine frequency. And what's also coming is that you are likely someone who has suppressed his or her own feminine, his or his own inner goddess, and you are here to claim that back. So you are here to claim your feminine, divine feminine. And well, we're here to do that, all of us, but for you specifically, pile number 3, what you are speaking of or helping people with or helping people heal is through healing the divine feminine. So I already know that you have your own of divine feminine issues. You likely have suppressed it. Okay, and the divine feminine, as you know, is very creative. It's the creative force. So when you suppress your own divine feminine, you suppress your own creativity. When you suppress your own creativity, it's like you're not allowing yourself to be more and live out to your potential. So you are here learning how to live up to your potential by recognizing your truth and yourself, and by no longer rejecting yourself. So pile number 3, rejection, is a huge deal for you. Okay? So that's what I have for you, message number 3. Let me know how this resonated with you. Again, if you want the 2025 forecasts, it's all about opportunities to heal. That link is down below. By the way, every purchase will receive a discount towards a session with myself and my team. So if you're into that sort of thing, that's a little bit bonus for you. Aside from that, I hope you have a beautiful full moon on January 13th, or whenever you listen. And I do look forward to your comments. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. And please share with those who you feel might benefit from this information. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.